This point of order, Mr. Speaker, I rise on, is another serious point of order to address two incidents that took place during the course of debate on the Opposition Day motion earlier today. As the Chair knows, the House is debating a Conservative motion that addresses the serious threats made against the family of the member from Wellington Halton Hills. The statements I'm about to bring to your attention centre around one defensive briefing provided by CSIS to the member of Wellington Halton Hills about foreign interference 2 years ago. It is important to note that the member from Wellington Halton Hills has been clear in his public comments that he was actually in the House today during question period that the threats made to his family were never made known to him in that briefing. The only specific briefing he received happened this week, only after the matter became news reported by the Globe and Mail. Yet during the debate, both Parliamentary Secretaries to the Government House Leader engaged in misinformation and disinformation in a blatant attack on the reputation of the member from Wellington Halton Hills. The member from Kingston and the Islands said about the threats, and I quote, "The member for Wellington Halton Hills had a defensive briefing on this 2 years ago, so he knew about this when it actually happened," end quote. The same member went on to say, quote, "It is true that I said that the member for Wellington Halton Hills received multiple defensive briefings. He did. He received multiple defensive briefings, and it is absolutely true that I have absolutely no idea what he was told." These comments are outright disinformation. The member from Kingston and Islands ought to know that there was only one briefing 2 years ago and that it was a general defensive briefing that did not contain information about specific threats. Yet he has allowed his false statements to stand on the record and was given many opportunities to withdraw. To make matters worse, the member from Winnipeg North said, and I quote, "The member for Wellington Halton Hills is known for 2 years," end quote, and then went on to accuse the member of doing nothing about these threats. The accusations made by the members of Kingston and the Islands and Winnipeg North are false, and worse, they amount to victim blaming. I demand that these members rise to correct the misinformation and disinformation they provided to the House, and that they apologize for their attempts to impugn the reputation of an honourable member, it being the member of Wellington Halton Hills. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Kingston and the Islands is rising on this point of order.
On this same point of order, Mr. Speaker, what I had indicated previously when I said that the member was aware of this, I apologize for the choice of words. What I was trying to imply was that he was aware that there were some threats that were out there, which is the reason why he received a defensive briefing. I apologize unreservedly for my choice of words, because in doing so, I have led people to believe that he knew about specifically what was being talked about today. So, Mr. Speaker, through you, to that member who I have a ton of respect for, to all Conservatives, to you, to the Chair, to this House, I apologize.
Okay, we can put that to rest. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Government House Leader is rising on a point of order.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, and again, who's here and who's not here at times in which members stand up, just for clarification purposes. This is in fact what I had indicated, Mr. Speaker, and I quote from earlier today. Mr. Speaker, it was never my intention to say that the Prime Minister and the member had the same briefing. If that is in fact what I said, I would apologize for saying that. It was the same briefing, for saying that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Opposition Whip is rising again on a point of order. The same one, I take it?
Yes,
okay, very
Mr.
good.
Speaker, but to clarify, and I have the quotation from earlier today from the member for Winnipeg North, and he said, "The member for Wellington Halton Hills has known for 2 years." And then he went on to accuse the member of doing nothing about these threats. We're not talking about the briefing this week, the one that the Prime Minister and the member had. We're talking about not just a suggestion and an assertion that the member has had information about the threats to his family for 2 years, which is false, and has done nothing about it, blaming the victim. There should be a proper apology, and that wasn't it, Mr. Speaker.